Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank our color guard from Davis Moffett Air Force Base.
Teen MLS Cup finalists, New England Revolution. We'll go through the starting 11, starting with the Colorado Rapids. There are 4 changes to the Rapids to the side that took on Sporting KC on Wednesday. Among them, Clint Irwin in goal, a back 4 of Marlon Hairston, right back. We'll discuss more about that shortly. Jared Watts alongside Axel Sjoberg and Michael Harrington at left back. The holding midfielders, Lucas Pitanari, Marcelo Savas. The 3 across the middle, Vicente Sanchez, Gabriel Torres, and the new signing, Juan Ramirez. And up top is Dom Badji. Jeff Lemieux is alongside me. Do you want to take us through the Revolution starting 11 tonight?
Absolutely. The Revs in a familiar 4-2-3-1. In goal for the Revs, Bobby Shuttleworth, who established himself as the Revs' number 1 for the first time last season on that run to MLS Cup. Across the back, Kevin Alston on the left side of defense. On the right side, Darius Barnes. And in the middle, the new center back pairing, Jose Gonçalves and Andrew Farrell. In central midfield, Andy Dorman and Scott Caldwell playing deep. Behind Daigo Kobayashi, out on the wings, Kellen Rowe, Teal Bunbury, who has reinvented himself as a winger in New England, on the right, and up top by himself, Charlie Davies.
What lessons then? I think there's 9 changes to this starting 11. We look now, we're 2 weeks away. New England Revolution play on the Sunday against away at Seattle. The Rapids play on the Saturday away at Philadelphia. 2 weeks to go. These are sides now, and we'll look at the Rapids, but coming from a Revolution standpoint, these are sides now that are beginning to take some kind of shape with that opening game just a few weeks away.
Yeah, and I spoke with Revs head coach Jay Heaps just yesterday, and he said that was kind of the point of this weekend game, with this being on a Saturday, having another game to close out the Desert Diamond Cup next Saturday, and then opening the season the following weekend. They're looking to get this team into that rhythm of playing on the weekend, and then the following weekend to open the season. So this is really a team and an 11 right now who they're trying to, kind of get that combination between these players.
Fantastic weather here in Tucson, Arizona, as dusk settles around us. We've got 2 more games to come this evening. Real Salt Lake against FC Tucson, and then the late game here is Seattle against Sporting Kansas City. And we know that elsewhere, certainly where these 2 teams are from, New England and Colorado, the weather is far from what we are observing here at the moment. I know the Revolution were 24 hours in late in arriving here earlier in the week because of the weather on the East Coast, and snow is falling around Colorado as I speak, and that is expected to go on throughout Sunday. So beautiful conditions here for soccer and for these 2 sides. We spare a thought for the fans of the 2 teams that are watching in very different conditions. A debut tonight for Juan Ramirez, number 15 he'll be wearing, as we take a look at Lucas Pitanari, another Argentine. As the referee tonight, Mr. Daniel Radford, getting ready to get us underway. Juan Ramirez at the top of your screen there. It'll be the Rapids to get us started. Dom Badji and Gabriel Torres. Torres sitting behind Badji as we get underway. Back to the man wearing the captain's armband this evening. Well, certainly in the first half, Marcelo Savas. And the news on Shane O'Neill. Shane O'Neill was due to start in place of Jared Watts, but he's been feeling a little under the weather the last few days. In fact, that was the reason he came out early of the game on Wednesday. Came on as a substitute, left the game early, and the reason was he's not feeling 100%, a little bit poorly. Thought he could go this evening, and I think on arrival that has been switched around. So Shane O'Neill scrubbed from the starting 11, and Jared Watts taking his place. An early touch for Bobby Shuttleworth, one of the players that did play against Real Salt Lake the other night. What was learnt from that, and from what you've spoken to Jay Heaps over the last few nights? What can we expect from the Revolution in this game that have been lessons learned from Wednesday?
Now, Wednesday, in speaking with Jay Heaps, was still quite a bit about managing minutes. You saw the starting lineup that started in that game against Real Salt Lake, and a lot of those players who played either 45 minutes or 60 minutes were players who are new to this team, are still trialists trying to find their way into the squad or earn contract spots. So that is still kind of what Jay Heaps was looking for in that game, trying to manage a lot of this first group's type of minutes so that he could get them into this game on the weekend, and then kind of look at this group. Probably see this starting group go somewhere around 60 minutes tonight. So I think that Wednesday game was a little bit about kind of setting up the weekend for the Revs.
Well, I think it's a very similar story for the Rapids. At the team meal earlier, That was exactly what was said in terms of duration. About 60 minutes. Some may go a little longer, some may go a little shorter. We may see some of this starting 11 just playing the first half only. Depends where they are in terms of their preparation and their fitness levels. Here's a young man, Marlon Hairston, who is being tried at right back. That will take a few people by surprise. A rookie in 2014. The Rapids number 94. Looking to switch things around a little bit. Wes Knight, who is on the bench. A number of players. Very long bench for both of these sides this evening. Expecting a number of changes, but I think, Jeff, coming back to your point earlier, those changes are going to become less and less over the next few games as both coaches begin to just refine that starting 11 and the subsequent maybe squad of 17, 18, the core that they're going to go into that first game in 2 weeks' time. Yeah,
I would imagine that quite a few of these Revs players starting and playing significant minutes tonight probably won't see much action, if any action at all, on Wednesday when the Revs play their third Desert Diamond Cup match against Seattle Sounders FC, and then that next Saturday in the placement game. Most of these players are probably going to be going anywhere between 80 and 90 minutes to get them all the way up to that complete match fitness before playing a game the next weekend.
Beautiful conditions here for the Desert Diamond Cup, the 2015 edition here in Tucson, Arizona. 2 more games to come on MLSsoccer.com. And the next game, which is a 6 o'clock kickoff, I believe. And that is Real Salt Lake against FC Tucson, the 8 p.m. local time kickoff. Seattle Sounders against Sporting Kansas City. Already had fans coming in from Sporting KC. Ahead of this game, wanting to know where Sporting KC's bench will be so they can sit behind it. So I sort of hazarded a guess that they'd be in the same bench that they were on Wednesday, which is to the left, and Seattle to the right, which is where they were on Wednesday night as well. I took satisfaction in knowing that I won't be around when that game's played, so whether my decision is right or not, they'll not be able to track me down.
I'll find out for you and track you down and let you know, just so you know.
They were very, very keen to know exactly and get as close as they could. They were one of the early arrivals. One of the things that stood out on Wednesday night, certainly the first game that I was covering, was the Rapids against Sporting Kansas City. The number of cards that were issued by the referee, I think 7 yellows and a red card as well. There was certainly an edge. There was certainly an edge to that game on Wednesday. I'm not sure the coaches were entirely happy, and certainly not with the red card, but the referees have got to warm up as well. They've got to get into their pre-season mode, as the players have to. There's a free kick here. Marcelo Savas. Sanchez, in fact, will take it, spreading it to the far side. Harrington tees one up. He's going to dink one to the far post, looking for Badgie. That takes a deflection, and it's out for a corner kick on this near side for the Rapids. 5 minutes gone, no score so far at Keno North Stadium. The Rapids against New England Revolution, and it looks like Badgie stayed down.
Do you know Carf International, based in Tucson?
I'm not sure whether that was a collision with a player or whether the ball's come back or he's landed awkwardly. It looks like he's maybe landed awkwardly on his wrist and his left forearm.
And the Desert Diamond Cup as a tribute to team building, overcoming obstacles and personal achievements. Ask about Carf accreditation.
Well, he's off the field. Is he just? So I think play will be allowed to continue. Yeah, he is just off the field of play. So Badgie will wander around to halfway to re-enter the field of play, and the corner kick will be taken by Vicente Sanchez. Swings one in towards the far post, a big head of the big man. Axel Sjoberg goes up. He was being monitored and watched very, very closely. I think that was Barnes was watching him.
Not the easiest of job for Darius Barnes on Sjoberg. When you're man marking a 6'7" man, there's not much you can do except try to get a body on him.
6'7" and a half.
6'7" and a half.
He'll tell you 6'7" and a half.
He looks a 6'7" and a half, even from up here.
In stocking feet.
Marking a man of that size on a set piece like that, when you're Darius Barnes, essentially you're just trying to get a body on him, just put him off in any way, because the chances of winning the header cleanly on him are not very good.
Early touch for the new signing Ramirez. That's given away by Pitanari. Fortunately, Charlie Davies could only direct it back to Clint Irwin, who's making his first start tonight. Clint Irwin, huge competition for the Rapids in this goalkeeping department. Zach McMath and John Berner. My understanding is Berner's going to see some time in the second half, something he didn't do on Wednesday, and I think the plan was he was going to. And then maybe just as the game unfolded, good anticipation there by Hairston, but well collected by Kellen Rota as well. Feeding back to Farrell. Dorman, vastly experienced Andy Dorman, just takes it in his stride, holds off the challenge of Savas. Back to Gonzalez. He's going to have to watch it here. And Torres just nudges it back to Shuttleworth. And in fact, that was something that the Rapids were doing quite well the other night. Although they seem to have set up as a 4-2-3-1, sloppy from Sanchez, falls to Hairston. Although they set up as a 4-2-3-1 with Badgie as the pronged solo man up top, he did get that rotation, and Torres was bursting through from centre field as he did just a few moments ago, and it almost then becomes a 4-4-2. Or you have that rotation where it's Badgie or Torres, and the defenders are not too sure which player to pick up. Ramirez muscled off the ball, and it'll be a free kick to the Revolution. Nope, the other way. The referee, Mr. Radford, absolutely positive that is a Revolution free kick. Early stages of this game. On the whole, what kind of pre-season has it been for the Revolution? I know this will be the fourth game for the guys, 1 win and 2 losses. Results, I know the fans may read more into that, but in terms of the overall performances, as Owen gathers that on the edge of his penalty area, is the team, is Jay Heaps happy?
Yeah, it's been a different type of preseason for the Revs this year because they were able to establish and settle into a system and a playing style last year. They've got this formation and this system which kind of sets up like a 4-2-3-1, kind of a hybrid 4-3-3 a little bit, a high-pressure system. And because the Revs were able to come into preseason this year understanding that system, and there was not a whole lot of turnover. These players are familiar with the system. They know how each other play. They know how the team wants to play. It's really just been a preseason about building up fitness and sharpness. So we've kind of seen a progression through these past few games of trying to build up that sharpness. And I know the Revs aren't exactly where Jay Heaps wants them to be, but just about 2 weeks out from the season, I think these last 3 games are going to be really, really big for the Revs as far as kind of taking those final steps that Jay Heaps wants to see.
And this is a great tournament because fans are turning up and they are seeing an advanced pre-season. So these are, as we said, 2 weeks away from the opening game. These are guys that are getting into their stride. As Farrell nudges it back to Shuttleworth, clears downfield, only as far as Savas, collected by Pittanari, has to hurry. The New England Revolution win the ball back. You're watching live coverage of the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup from Tucson, Arizona. Colorado Rapids against New England Revolution on MLSsoccer.com, RevolutionSoccer.net and ColoradoRapids.com. More games to come. This is game 4 of 12 on match day 2. You cannot ask for better conditions. A little gentle breeze. We're looking away to the left. The flags are just fluttering. Nice for the spectators as well.
And for fans watching back home in New England, just jack up the heat, pretend you're here, because I know what it's like back home, and it's not quite as comfortable as it is here in Tucson.
Hairston having to give chase, tracking that one back. I've given up FaceTiming the family because they're seeing nothing but sunshine here. I actually feel that I'm gloating, but I'm not. I am genuinely interested on what they're doing. Well, MLS Live is back for 2015. Watch hundreds of out-of-market matches on your computer, phone, tablet, Roku, Apple TV and Chromecast media player. Buy now for just $64.99 through February 22nd. Visit MLSsoccer.com for more information and blackout rules. So that's tomorrow, the 22nd of February. The last chance to get it. That fantastic deal. $64.99. Can wallow in all of MLS's fixtures. Aside from those blackout games for 2015, it really is setting up nicely to be a fantastic season. 20 teams, 20th season. Ramirez, all very tight and congested in that centre field. Davies can bring the ball away. Torres racing back. The referee says the ball was won cleanly. Ramirez picks it up, trying to wrestle himself free at the challenge. Wins a free kick just inside the Rapids half. 12 minutes gone. I think that's Pitanari looking to borrow a few yards, and Savas is not taking it back the full quota, but the referee allows the free kick to be taken. Shadows now stretching across this field here. He was onside according to the assistant, but that was mighty close. Don Badgie. Shuttleworth alert to the danger.
And Farrell just shielding him off there, letting Shuttleworth come out and collect that ball. And these are the scenarios where Andrew Farrell still kind of settling into the position a little bit. Center back is a position he played quite a bit in college and played 10 games in central defense last season for the Revolution, but still kind of settling into that position, moving over from right back with AJ Soares no longer with the club.
As you spoke to Jay Heaps yesterday, I was talking to Pablo Mastroeni, and a big fan of what Jay Heaps has achieved at the Revolution. Former roommates at Miami Fusion, and obviously former teammates as well, good friends. They were chatting at a pre-event function on Tuesday night. And Pablo Mastroeni was saying, you know, what Jay Heaps has achieved, he's got the foundation, he's now building around, as you mentioned, a team that has been together for a few years. And that's not something that happens overnight.
And it took patience from Jay's perspective and from the team's perspective and from the fans' perspective, because when he came in at the start of the 2012 season, there was always a sense that it was going to be a little bit of a build-up. It was going to be about a 3-year plan or so. And you look last year at Jay Heaps' third year at the helm to win the Eastern Conference and reach MLS Cup. It seemed like that's a 3-year plan. You're about where you want to be.
Is the element of surprise gone now for the Revolution? Because I know they had that wobble mid-season in 2014. They had a fantastic charge to the Eastern Conference Championship and MLS Cup. Now they are more solid. I mean, we look at the opening 2 games. On the road at Seattle, on the road at NYCFC. The element of surprise, people are now going to be watching out for the Revolution, do you think?
It's something players have said, that you come into a season, when you reach MLS Cup, the fact is you come into the next season with a target on your back. And these players know that, for instance, a season like last year, when the Revs were playing against Sporting Kansas City, who were at the time the defending MLS Cup champs, you get a better game. And watch this ball here.
Harrington having to take emergency measures there.
So yeah, the Revs are expecting this season that every game teams are going to come in and they're going to be hyped for those games. Not that teams aren't hyped for every game, but when you're playing against a team who reached MLS Cup last year and had the success that the Revs had, there's a little extra edge there, and they know that they're going to be getting that pretty much weekend after weekend this year.
There's 2 tough games to start for the Revolution. Away at Seattle on March 8th. And then March 15th away at NYCFC. NYCFC's home opener, in fact, at Yankee Stadium. The home opener for the Revolution is March 21st against Montreal Impact. Go to revolutionsoccer.net for ticket details for that opening game. Hairston and Jared Watts going for the same ball. Both came away unscathed.
Hoping the snow will be melted by mid-March.
Well, the Rapids had some bizarre weather conditions, I think. Moving into April, had some fantastic weather in some of the early games, and then snow and some hail, if I recall, venturing into certainly late April, maybe even May. Hairston's going to have to charge that one down. He does against Kellen Rowe. Owen. Not settling into too much of a pattern yet for these two sides. Badgie looking to get the return from Gabriel Torres. The Rapids' home opener is against NYCFC. They go to Philadelphia Union on March 7th. A bye week then the following weekend before the home opener against NYCFC, March 21st. Go to coloradorapids.com for details of tickets to that one. Kevin Alston with the throw. Dorman trying to help it on its way. Ramirez looking to get the return. Ramirez is carried on his run, looking for the ball. Inside left channel, shot at goal across Shuttleworth's goal. Good angles being spotted there by the keeper. And no real danger. And a decent move and decent understanding down that left-hand side for Harrington and Juan Ramirez.
And Andrew Farrell finding himself in a one-on-one defensive situation there, something he will be quite familiar with from all of his time at right back with the Revs for the past 2 years.
Hairston wins that one in the air. Sanchez giving chase against Alston. Did I read that he's shed his locks, Kevin Alston? Is there a story behind that?
He has a couple of Revs players with unrecognizable haircuts, Kevin Alston being one of them. He had a very distinctive haircut, if you want to call it that, towards the end of last season. But he told us that his mother was hounding him weekend after weekend, that he was going to be on national television and he needed to look presentable. And he told her they were on the road to MLS Cup. He couldn't cut it in the middle of the playoffs, so he waited until MLS Cup was over, and immediately after the game, 2 or 3 days after MLS Cup in mid-December, he cut it off. So it's a new look for Kevin Alston.
He was testing his mother's patience then by waiting till after MLS Cup. So a new look for Kevin Alston.
Kellen Rowe, the other player for the Revs, who has a bit of a different look. So you'll have to find him by the number 11, and then you can check out that haircut. Make up your own mind about it. I'll reserve judgment because I don't have any hair.
No goals so far. 18 minutes gone. So Savas muscled off the ball there. The Revolution bring the ball away. Alston. Savas looking for an outlet to the aforementioned Kellen Rowe. The new look. Striding in field. Kobayashi. Rowe collects once again. Davies is just hovering towards the back post. Can he be found? Nearly just half a step. Half a step, maybe just rocking on his heels to stay on side. Otherwise, Charlie Davies could have been in.
And this is still where the Revs are searching for that final ball, that incisiveness, that sharpness, looking to continue that through these last 3 games. They have been shut out in their past 2 games, so I know coming into this game, Jay Heaps still kind of looking for that final ball and that incisiveness in the final third, which it seems like is always one of the final things that teams click on throughout a preseason.
Good win by Farrell. Hairston times his jump. Sjoberg shouldn't have too many problems there at 6'7". Sanchez goes down under the challenge from Alston. Free kick to the Colorado Rapids. The Rapids looking for their first win of pre-season. 2-0 loss last Sunday to San Jose Earthquakes in Las Vegas. A 2-2 tie midweek against Sporting KC, having led 2-0 at half-time. What's going long? That should be too long. The Revolution, a 4th game. They've played RSL twice. Won once, lost once, and a defeat to the Whitecaps. And if you're winning games, it's great. If you're losing games in pre-season, well, people try to pick out the performance as a whole. I know the players do want to win the games, but as has been the case for many of these games, Jeff, you're swapping and changing whole sides at half-time. As we just watch this and track this, the back post and scoop that one. Theo Bunbury is going to want that one back. And in fact, the referee's indicated a throw-in.
That's a scenario there where the build-up there for New England, fantastic ball to find Kevin Alston, streaking down the left side, a great first touch from him, a great ball to Bunbury at the back post, a fantastic first touch to get himself into shooting position. And then fans would have liked to see a replay of the left-footed curler that he placed in the upper corner against New York in the Eastern Conference Championship last year, but not quite the same effort there.
Harrington finds Ramirez. Pitanari, fellow Argentine. Savas. Back to Sjoberg, who's alongside Bobby Burling on Wednesday, alongside Jared Watts tonight. Not the cleanest of clearances from Clint Owen. Pitanari back to Sjoberg again. Charlie Davies trying to close down the space. Gabriel Torres up against Farrell. Good anticipation by the big man. And he puts a big boot through that clears that one downfield. Teal Bunbury just waiting for a bit of support. In fact, I think he's going to wait for the throw to be taken by Barnes. Not too much movement at the moment. Bunbury moves, allows some space behind for Davies. Comfortable for Dorman there. Back to Barnes, infield to Bunbury. Barnes was flat-footed a little there and didn't quite anticipate the return. Out of play on the far side. Yeah, I remember the Rapids went to New England Revolution Wednesday game. The Rapids had just come off a victory the previous Friday against Chivas USA. Went to New England, who I think were 7 games without a win, 8 games without a win.
8. Yes.
8. And the Rapids got absolutely undone. Oh, what a wonderful header and a magical save from Clint Owen. Kobayashi, I think, was the man that came through the crowd, and Clint Owen had to be equal to that one.
It's not exactly Daigo Kobayashi's forte, sliding through the box and getting his head on a ball, but fantastic movement there and a great ball from Kellen Rowe to find him.
Well, the referee's going to go to his book. Well, that's Dorman, I think, getting the yellow card. A little clip of the heels on Ramirez. Just going back to that game against New England last season. Rapids fans won't want reminding. That was the first of that 14 games without a win. That took them all the way through to the end of the season.
And on the flip side of it was a game that as you mentioned, helped
Launch
end
pad.
a lengthy skid for the Revs. They ended up, their next match actually down in New York was a very frustrating game. It felt like that win over the Rapids had turned things around. They then went to New York and were up a man and a goal at halftime, ended up losing that game 2-1. But then from there, they started to turn around. Jermaine Jones came in, and then the rest was history, making that 12-2-3 run through the end of the season to reach MLS Cup.
Yeah, 0-12-2 for the Rapids, unfortunately. Sjoberg against Davies. Davies is away, and he was, and that's going to be a yellow card for Axel Sjoberg. There's one apiece then. No doubt about that.
For Davies there, all about how he was able to position his body on Sjoberg, got himself between him and the ball, made him foul.
Kellen Rowe standing over the free kick. Kobayashi just peeling away, as you can see in the middle of your screen, taking Ramirez with him. Rowe delivers, right-footed. That's got some pace on it. Irwin fought better against trying to catch that.
Still dealing with a bit of the sun and shadows in that point too. Won't have to deal with that for much longer, but that was a difficult ball for Owen to deal with under the circumstances.
Savas. Sanchez ahead of him, going long, looking for Dom Badji. Too much on that one. And towards where some of the Rapids fans are gathered, in fact, over that far side. .25 minutes gone. No score so far. Colorado Rapids against New England Revolution. The first of 3 games this evening in the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup. Match day 2 on MLSsoccer.com, RevolutionSoccer.net and ColoradoRapids.com. Revolution losing their first game against Real Salt Lake on Wednesday night, 1-0. The Rapids a 2-2 tie with Sporting Kansas City. Little ground for these two sides to make up. Free kick, centre field. Dorman, the aggrieved, will take. And they move the ball quickly. Kobayashi was crowded out by Pitanari and Jared Watts. Good work from Gonzalez. Dorman, back to Farrell. Bit of space, trying to open it up now, looking for options right and left. Finds Barnes. Through the middle. Kellen Rowe's going to have to give chase. Will he keep that in? There's a little bit of zip on this surface, does well. Hairston bearing down on him. Still not fully cleared. Sanchez is going to have to work with Marcelo Savas and Hairston, the three of them. Only as far as Dorman. Under pressure. Ramirez wins that one away. Brings it under control, finds Torres. Badji and Pitanari are making the run through the middle. Good work from Torres. Beats Farrell. Finds, nearly found Pitanari. In fact, it split the two of them, both Badji and Pitanari. And the Revolution can clear. Something the Rapids did well the other night, breaking quickly on turnovers. Unable to capitalise there, though. Watts attacking the space. Floated ball over the top, looking for Hairston to run onto that. Alston should shield that. Savas to Torres. Kobayashi coming to cover ground. Badji got a goal the other night. Strikes one wide of Bobby Shuttleworth's left-hand post. Well, Fantasy Soccer Manager is here. Create your team and join leagues. To show you the best fantasy manager in the league, we're offering $10,000 in prizes. Visit MLSsoccer.com for more details. Approaching the half-hour mark here as the sun begins to set in Arizona. A few little overcoats being put on just in front of us, just cooling down in this main stand at the Kino North Stadium. Pitanari just delayed his pass, but it finds its way through to Marcelo Savas. Ramirez trying to latch onto that. Pitanari, too heavy there for Badji. Sjoberg watches that one up against Bunbury. Kobayashi collects. Pitanari battling back. Too heavy for Vicente Sanchez. So were you on that trip that was delayed?
I was coming out to Tucson.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be Sunday, just only delayed 24 hours, which was actually impressive of the Revs team administrators to get the team out here on such short notice, considering they had all of these travel plans set for Sunday, and everything was pushed back into Monday, and it made it a little bit of a longer trip. Had to take a bus and a plane instead of just
it wasn't quite a planes, trains, and automobiles.
It was a little bit. It was a day full of travel. We won't go into all of the details, but the team got down here, got to sleep on Monday night, and then got a nice training session on Tuesday, just kind of get the trip out of their legs a little bit, and then it was straight into action on Wednesday night. But it didn't matter how long it took to get down here. It was worth the wait to get out of the 7 feet of snow in New England.
Goodness me. Tom Badji back on his feet. Free kick to the Rapids. Savas and Sanchez standing over that. Looks like Sanchez will deliver. Bends that one, curling. And it's just edged out for a corner kick to the Rapids. I imagine the man that's going to be watched here is Axel Sjoberg there in the foreground. Number 44.
It looks like Darius Barnes once again has the task of marking Sjoberg on these set pieces.
But Jared Watts at 33 is not short either. 6'3". Up against 6'7". Sjoberg making a move. Shuttleworth thought about it. Back to Sjoberg. Still not fully cleared. And in fact, it's put out for another corner kick by Scott Caldwell.
It is a thankless task Darius Barnes has right now. You can see him. He's not going to try to win the header one-on-one.
This one's whipped in. Caldwell at the near post. Pitanari wins that in the air. Farrell does well. And again, Badji back to goal, and another free kick to the Rapids. A little hefty in there. Ramirez going down under the challenge. The Revolution player's not happy. But Mr. Radford has given the free kick. This one just left of centre.
Very dangerous position for a set piece. Bobby Shuttleworth will be very careful about setting up his wall right now.
suppose the advantage is you don't have to watch out for Sjoberg. He's 30 yards, 20 yards further back. This is going to be one at goal. But Torres is over it as well. Gabriel Torres, Marcelo Savas and Vicente Sanchez. It's the referee wanting them back the full 10 yards. There we go then. Is it going to be Savas? Is it going to be Torres? Drills it through the wall and straight down the throat of Bobby Shuttleworth. He watched that one. Nice and comfortable for the Revolution keeper.
Good positioning there by Shuttleworth. Set up his wall where he wanted it. Trusted them to do their job. Held his position. And as a result, the free kick right into the breadbasket.
Watts wins that in the air. Alston to Rowe on this near side. Pitanari giving chase. Rowe gets away from one challenge, trying to get around Hairston. Hairston charging back. Tight in that corner. Hairston gets the boot in, puts it out of play on this near side. Caldwell finds Dorman. Barnes outside him. Back to Caldwell. Pitanari closing down. Bunbury takes it in his stride. Davis at the near post. Rowe at the back post. And Hairston taking no risks. That one out for a corner kick to New England.
Good ball there from Bunbury. A dangerous ball across the six. Irwin unable to come out. Just not quite the runners in the box that Teal Bunbury would have hoped for there.
Kobayashi dropping short. Callum Rowe, I think, is going to deliver this one long. In fact, he does towards the near post. There's Harrington going up to connect with that. Ramirez waits for it to bounce 2 or 3 times and streaks away from his man. Unable to bring the ball under control fully, though. It runs away from him. He's been in camp about a week, in fact. Juan Ramirez. Paperwork and the signing was all officially confirmed on Friday, but he's been training with the players. Watching him in training yesterday up close, knowing that there was a good chance that he could take part today. He's got a great turn of speed, 21 years of age, a young designated player for the Rapids. He becomes the 9th new player during the off-season. Sanchez, Badji trying to hold the line, according to the assistant, onside. Takes a deflection off Gonzalez. Callum Rowe, inside left channel looking for Davies. 10 minutes until the break. No score so far here on MLSsoccer.com, RevolutionSoccer.net and ColoradoRapids.com. 2 weeks until the opening game for these two sides. 2 weeks and a day for the Revolution. They go to Seattle. The Rapids go to Philadelphia. And the opening home game for the two teams, the same weekend, I believe. In fact, the same day, March 21st. The Rapids home to NYCFC as Kevin Alston goes in the book. A little late on Marlon Hairston.
Nothing malicious there from Alston, but clever little play from Hairston to clip the ball around him, and Alston just left a foot in.
So the Rapids home to NYCFC March 21st. ColoradoRapids.com for ticket details. David Villa in town. Montreal Impact, the first home game for the Revolution. Go to RevolutionSoccer.net for tickets to that one, March 21st. Jared Watts then with the free kick. Drills that one, looking for Badji. Picked off by Gonzalez, only as far as Hairston. Not the greatest of first touches. Out of play on this near side. Davis under pressure from Jared Watts. All tight in there for Kellen Rowe. Gaining some yards though. Rowe back to Alston. Does well, nice and tight in there. But keeping it closely controlled until that point. Vetinari putting his laces through that. Farrell will just nudge that one back to Shuttleworth. It's got enough on it. Bunbury under pressure, does well to find Caldwell. Little tug from Torres there, and the referee, the second time of asking, free kick to the Revolution. Well, you can download the MLS app from the App Store or Google Play for free. Look for our regular season edition update to the app just before the start of the season. Check out the latest pre-season news and videos, and then check scores once the season gets underway. Download for free now at the App Store or Google Play. Into the latter stages of this first 45 minutes, Jeff. I can't. On the balance of play, obviously the scoreline suggests it's very close. I think the balance of play as well. No team has really dominated for long periods.
Yeah, and partially because there hasn't been a ton of rhythm on either side. The game has been quite a bit bogged down in midfield. A few chippy little challenges here and there, and I think a few of the fouls kind of lending to that fact that there hasn't been a ton of rhythm. Both teams have. There's been a few half chances here and there. You wouldn't say any particularly dangerous chances for either side. The Daigo Kobayashi header for the Revs, probably the best chance, in the free kick down the other end. But beyond that, it has been a whole lot of kind of trying to find that rhythm in midfield. And the good news is that I think these teams will both come out for the first 15 minutes of the second half, so they'll have a little bit more time to find that rhythm. But through the first 38 minutes here or so, it has been a little bit difficult to find.
It certainly lacked there's been the occasional chippiness, as Jeff was saying, but not as much as Wednesday's game for the Rapids against Sporting Kansas City. I don't know what your game over the other side was like against Real Salt Lake, but this one has settled down a little bit. Alston's going to have a go at goal. You could see what he was trying to do there. He was trying to get a little bit of late bend on it, but it wouldn't come back for him. He just carried on the same line. Had a little wobble, wouldn't quite come back, but a decent effort there from the fullback.
Struck it well, player Kevin Alston, who notched his first MLS goal last season in a home win over the Houston Dynamo, and that was a goal that meant a lot to the entire New England Revolution team to see Kevin Alston coming back into the starting lineup after 2013, missing much of that season as he battles chronic myelogenous leukemia. But to see him back on the field has been fantastic. And I was asked the other day on the first broadcast between the Revs and RSL, as the flag goes up, how Kevin's health was. And the best way I could answer was to say it actually took me a second to think of why someone would ask about Kevin's health, because it didn't immediately occur to me that someone would be asking about leukemia. So I think that was the best way to put it, is that it's not at the forefront of anybody's mind anymore.
Yeah, one of the great stories of the tail end of 2013 is Kevin Alston battled back, and it was great to see him back on the field and doing what he loves. Floodlights on. Beautiful setting here in the Desert Diamond Cup in Tucson, Arizona. What we can see from our commentary positions, a beautiful backdrop as the sun is just glinting on the mountains in the background, turning them from an orange glow to, what would that be, Jeff? A lilac? Is that a lilac colour?
That sounds right to me, Richard.
We'll go with that.
Lilac
go with that. If the two of us stick with it, nobody can argue against that one.
I think whatever you say is going to sound better than whatever I say. So,
I mean, there's a lovely backdrop to what has not been the best of first 45 minutes. I think this has settled down into, well, let's say, a pattern of a lack of pattern, if that makes any sense. There's not been rhythm from either side. Stop-start. And as a result, it's been a little scrappy in places. Into the last 5 minutes, still no score. As Jeff said, a couple of chances for either side. The best for the Revolution from that man, number 16, Daigo Kobayashi. Nicely spreading the play. And Bunbury striding forward, attacking the space. Savas watching the ball. Ramirez to Sanchez. The Argentine to the Uruguayan. Don Badji giving chase. Senegalese. Harrington outside him. He's going to go it alone. No, in fact, Harrington is now found. The Savas checks one way. Going to have a go at goal. And it's wide of the mark. Looking for the deflection. The referee says no. Well positioned was Daniel Radford.
Bobby Shuttleworth giving a thumbs up to his defenders there. Happy with how they were able to deal with that situation, despite the fact that obviously there was a decent shot away. And I think Bobby Shuttleworth happy to watch that one fly just wide.
Barnes just drops his shoulder. Dorman, Caldwell. Alston's making the run down this left side. Rowe finding Gonzalez. Infield to Kobayashi. Good work here from the Revolution, stringing some nice passes together. That one's just falling short of its intended target. It's Bunbury making the run. And Ramirez collects. The Badji. Back to Ramirez. Ramirez once again. Sanchez. Hairston making the run on this near side. Sanchez goes down under the challenge from Dorman. And a free kick. Into the last 2 minutes then. Following other matches around MLSsoccer.com. Plenty of pre-season action from around the country. And there's 2 more games here in Tucson. Real Salt Lake against FC Tucson. Seattle against Sporting Kansas City. That's the late game here at 8 p.m. local time. And will follow this contest, which is approaching half-time. Sanchez just dinks one down the middle. And Shuttleworth was alert to the danger. And a little bit too much on that one. Sjoberg was maybe the intended target. Just a little heavy. Sanchez drops his shoulder. Gets around Kobayashi. That should be comfortable, and it is for Shuttleworth. Approaching the last minute. We are into the last minute of the 45. And Jeff, how has this differed? Have you seen a different style, a different approach to Wednesday night?
Well, it's been a completely different lineup, but there hasn't been quite as much possession for the Revs tonight. The Revs did spend quite a bit of the opening 45 minutes. Davies is offside. Quite a bit of the opening 45 minutes against Salt Lake in possession. Generated quite a few chances, just didn't have that final ball in the final third and that incisiveness. This game has been a bit more, as we mentioned, a bit more bogged down in midfield, so neither side has really been able to generate that much possession, so it has been a bit different in that sense for the Revs.
Certainly, I think the Rapids, and maybe it's the way that the Revolution have set themselves up in midfield, are lacking the dynamic approach they had on Wednesday night, that first half. A lot more open and expansive, as Jeff said. A little bit more bogged down for both sides as the referee looks at his watch. I don't think injury time is something that we're going to be having too much of in these pre-season games. They're on a tight schedule. Looks at his watch once again. Does Daniel Radford. We are a few seconds over the 45. Petanari. Well, it should be easy for Alston. And then Kellen Rowe nudges one through Marlon Hairston's legs, but is felled as a result. And this should be the last action of the first half. The referee's had another look at his watch. Gonzalez, left-footed down the left wing. Little tug there from Jared Watts. Davies does well. The referee blows for half-time. No, in fact, it's a free kick. I think he was looking to see if advantage was going to be played. He did notice the little tug. No advantage for the Revolution, so a free kick.
We've seen Charlie Davies with quite a bit of that play throughout preseason. A lot of play with his back to goal, and that's an area of his game that he has worked very, very hard to improve, playing as a lone striker. In that position, in this system, he can still get in behind, use that speed that he's known for, but also playing quite a bit with his back to goal.
Kellen Rowe then, last chance of the first half. That one's gone all the way through and out of play. And that is the half-time whistle from Keno North Stadium. Colorado Rapids against New England Revolution. A few chances, the best I think falling to Daigo Kobayashi for New England Revolution. A diving header palmed away by Clint Owen. A couple of half chances at the other end for the Colorado Rapids. We will have second half coverage to come from Tucson, Arizona, the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup. At half-time though, it's Colorado Rapids 0, New England Revolution 0.
You guys want your mics open?
Coming in Troy is Colbert Peterborough. Made 100% USB seared on a hot
Hey, look at us. Here we go. Autographs.
delicious Colbert score on Scoopy. Direct your attention to the midfield striker. I am the first one to make an attempt at Scoopy. Let's see how he does, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's a handball. And here goes Kaylin with her attempt. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. The Carp mini soccer balls are coming your way, provided by Carp International. Here they come. You know Carp International, based in race rewards. Visit us at dbcac.com for more information. Desert Diamond.
Ice cream man, don't forget
Yeah, onto the field. Right onto the field.
You have choices in researching and selecting your healthcare services. Look for CARF accreditation. CARF accreditation is earned by providers that show commitment to service quality and focus on the satisfaction of the population. To find CARF accredited providers, visit us online at carf.org.
Hey, you want to say hi to the ice
Girls, keep your eyes out for Scoopy. Culver Scoopy is making a race. Down the front row of the grandstand.
There you go. Get a free test. Right there. You ready to give him a high five? All right. There we go. Have you ever had Culver before? All right. I'll get one for sure. All right. He's ready. Give him a hug. There. Here you go. Get one of these. Oh, we did? Okay. Yeah, he's working it, yeah. Hey, you want to get high five? High five.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the TSA 06 Boys 12. That was a great match, fellas. Well done.
Jack! Jack! Hug the ice cream guy. We'll get it.
And boys and girls, make your way down to the front of the grandstand to get your picture taken with Scoop.
Okay, you just like what I like. Like, we're cyclists. Well, you just have to give it
Simply Bits is a proud sponsor of the 2015 Desert Valley Cup. Simply Bits delivers fully managed internet, telephone, and IT solutions that keep pace with your business needs. Choose the simplicity of one network and one provider. Simply Bits residential internet services are also available. Learn more at simplybits.com.
Welcome back to the Kino North Stadium. We are about set for the start of the second half. There's been 3 changes to the Revolution. Fagundes on for Kobayashi, Agudelo on for Davies, and Hall on for Barnes. So 3 changes. Defence, midfield and up top as we get underway. New England Revolution kicking from left to right in this second half. No score. Goalless first half. No changes thus far for the Rapids. I'll give you a rundown of the 2 sides as they stand shortly. Let's bring you the Rapids 11. No changes, as I said, at half-time. So in goal, Clint Irwin. A back 4 of Marlon Hairston, Jared Watts, Axel Sjoberg and Michael Harrington. The holding midfield pair, Lucas Pitanari and Marcelo Savas. 3 across the middle, Vicente Sanchez, Gabriel Torres, new signing Juan Ramirez, and Dom Badji is the man up top. And for New England, Shuttleworth in goal. Back 4 of Hall, Farrell, Gonzalez, Alston. Holding pair of Caldwell and Dorman. Then we have Bunbury, Fagundes and Rowe, and Agudelo is up top.
It looks like there has been a little bit of a tactical shift for the Revs. We saw Diego Fagundes playing in that withdrawn role in behind Juan Agudelo on Wednesday against Salt Lake. It does look like Fagundes taking up a spot out on the left wing. Kellen Rowe has shifted inside, so we'll see Rowe in that withdrawn position at least to start the second half.
Pitanari wins the free kick. Taken quickly by Sanchez. Gives it away. Bunbury trying to thread the ball through. A chance here. Being crowded out though. Agudelo. Floated one towards the back post. Clint Owen stretching to clutch that one. Jeremy Hall teasing one up there in the opening moments of the second half.
See Bunbury and Agudelo linking up there. That's one of the only attacking players in this Revolution team.
Torres does well, gets round his man. Can he finish? Yes, he can. 2.5 minutes gone of the second half, and Gabriel Torres has stolen around the defence, and he's given the Rapids the lead.
Didn't actually see the goal there. We'll have to wait for the replay. I was just about to say Juan Agudelo and Teal Bunbury, one of the only players that Agudelo is not familiar with.
Number 10, Gabriel Torres.
Jose Gonçalves a little bit slow to react to the flick. Torres in behind.
Badgie with the flick, and Gabriel Torres finishing off, and that's 2-2 now for the Panama International. And there'll be a number of Rapids fans that will be rubbing their hands in glee. I think it's fair to say Gabriel Torres did not have the best of 2014s. Some will say he wasn't given a decent run in the side. A bit stop-start for him, and he was played in various positions out wide. And he's worked hard, he's worked well. And that will give him massive confidence. 2 goals in 2 games, and in a sense, real poacher's goals.
It's actually the first goal that this center-back pairing for the Reds this preseason has conceded in their 4th appearance. Jose Gonçalves and Andrew Farrell still learning each other's tendencies a little bit. They did not play much together or at all at center-back last season. All 6 of Andrew Farrell's 10 center-back appearances were alongside AJ Soares. So still gaining that combination a little bit, but that is the first goal in 4 appearances that we have seen the center-back pairing concede.
Ramirez just showing a little too much there. Caldwell collects. Just looking for the opening. Watts sitting deep. Anticipates well though. Savas to Sanchez. Back to Savas. Hairston's carried on his run down the right hand side. Sanchez wriggling one way, then the other. Finding Sjoberg. Pitanari. Ramirez. Back to Pitanari. Harrington on this near side. Ramirez. Torres just checked, and he's going to be offside anyway when he does collect. So 1 goal separating the 2 sides now, just scored a matter of minutes into the second half. The Revolution looking to try and react. Made 3 changes. Did that play a part? Was there a little bit of a settling in period for the 3 changes at the start of the second half?
But it seemed like it was just a little bit of an issue in central defense, and Jose Gonçalves and Andrew Farrell, 2 players who played that first half. This is the first time this preseason that they have played an entire first half, gone through halftime, and come out for the second half. So maybe there's a little something there as far as kind of getting into that rhythm of playing 45, going into halftime, and coming back out. But it was just a little flick that looked like it caught Jose Gonçalves off guard a little bit. And it's preseason, the time to have those types of mistakes. But like we said, that was the first goal that this center-back pairing has conceded this preseason.
Sjoberg to Pitanari. Finds Jared Watts. Badgie checked his run, and in fact, if he'd have carried on, he may have just taken it calmly in his stride. He's still in possession. Badgie shot! And straight at Bobby Shuttleworth. He's full of confidence, is Dom Badgie. Came through the supplemental draft. If I'm correct, out of Boston University. Still battling in there. Savas brings the ball away. Torres caught the back of his heel. Savas was looking for Ramirez, who finds for Ramirez to turn into trouble. Farrell to Caldwell. Kellen Rowe, just a bit heavy on that one.
You can see a lot of the interchanging in this Revs attack, something that they've done quite a bit, especially through the front five in recent years. Diego Fagundes right now kind of in a right back position. He's positioned on the left wing, but free to roam and find the ball.
Hall will cross first time. That's got some pace on it. Too much for Agudelo. Brian Crookham joins us, the Senior Director of Soccer Development with the Colorado Rapids. Give us a bit of insight, Brian. Gabriel Torres, he seems a different player, even in pre-season. Just seems a different player. Is it a different system? What's the difference with Torres as opposed to 2014?
It's probably about twofold. He came back in and didn't kind of start from the line like maybe he did last year.
You just watch this racing through, and that's the equaliser, and it is well taken. Fagundes latches onto that one, streaks through the middle, and 54 minutes gone. It is now 1 apiece here in Tucson.
Fantastic bit of skill there from Diego Fagundes, and that is the player Revolution fans became accustomed to seeing throughout 2013 when he led the team with 13 goals. Very shifty, and he is a player who is incredibly sharp right now. That little pace and little chip of a finish. It's a clever play. And he's a player who's very, very sharp right now. He's only had 3 training sessions with the Revs this preseason, but that's because he's been spending the past 3 or 4 weeks with the Uruguay U20 side, helping them qualify for the Under-20 World Cup.
Lofted it nicely. Sorry, Brian, you were saying about Torres and the different kind of player maybe that he is in 2015.
The other thing about Gabby is he's always been a great finisher, and it's about getting him in spots where he looked at his mates having a positive. He's done a lot of that work to get the ball onto it. You can see in the spots where he's able to win the challenge and get put down in, but it's not to score goals. He's in and around the box. He's going to score goals. I think the challenge is to make sure that he's in position where he's a chance to finish. He's able to finish, and that is a nice one.
Tends to be almost a different kind of, it's not different formation, but the kind of system that they're playing. Yes, it looks like a 4-2-3-1 on paper, but as Torres has shown in this game, and he showed in Wednesday's game, there's that ability to rotate those top 2 or 3, maybe with Badji or Torres, Badji and Sanchez. Is that a plan? Is that a ploy as far as the Rapids?
You guys just talked about that, right? Being a little bit more fluid in that forward, being able to interchange, the wide men coming in a little bit, and then somebody that plays in more of a wrong position to press and get beyond. You're starting to see that evolution. We're still early in preseason. Defensive shape has been good, but it's not what we're starting to do. We're starting to see pieces of that evolve right now. It's certainly a lot more fun to watch when you get more fluid attack.
We're going to be having a couple of substitutions here for the Rapids shortly, and also one for the Revolution that'll take them to 4 changes. But the first couple for the Rapids, as we just edge past the 10-minute mark in this second half. Carlos Alvarez and Dylan Cerner waiting to come on. And then we also have, I think it's Newman, Steve Newman is going to be coming on for the Revolution. So just short of that 60-minute mark, I think by the time Alvarez and Cerner come on, I would expect it to be for Sanchez and Ramirez. 2 wide players, Cerner and Alvarez, or certainly Alvarez will be playing in that role. And I do have a list of potential changes, potential swaps that could take place during this second half. Torres stands strong and wins the free kick, and I think we're going to have the changes now. So Juan Ramirez on his debut, 57 minutes in Burgundy. The Argentine making way for Carlos Alvarez. And indeed, Vicente Sanchez will wander to the sidelines. The Uruguayan replaced by Dylan Cerner, who's had a busy last few weeks, been away with the US national side in their January camp. Andy Dorman then for Steve Newman. So a fourth change for Jay Heaps. Some more fresh legs. Just short of the hour mark. And we resume. 1 goal apiece. 2 goals coming early in this second half. Alvarez straight into the action. Does well. Stays with the ball. Back to Pitanari. Harrington ventured forward. Savas back to Pitanari again. Badji can't quite guide it to Harrington. Badji wins it back. Trying to stroke the ball through to Torres. Sjoberg to Alvarez to Badji. Back to goal. Revolution sitting deep. Good numbers. Pitanari a little sloppy there. Just seemed to get stuck under his boot. And Fagundes can scamper forward, running into a load of jerseys though. Hairston gets across, puts that out for a throw over on the far side. .59 minutes gone then. Torres. It's the first game of the match day 2. As Pitanari scrambles across. Newman to Hall on this near side. Caldwell. Back to Hall. Farrell. Bunbury. Didn't quite come down for him. MLS Live is back for 2015. Watch hundreds of out-of-market matches on your computer, your phone, your tablet, Roku, Apple TV and Chromecast Media Player. Buy now for just $64.99 through February 22nd. That is this Sunday. Visit MLSsoccer.com for more information and also some blackout rules as well. So not long to get a hold of that great deal. $64.99, MLSsoccer.com. That is MLS Live.
It's tough to feel the team this good, but Chapman Automotive is
Hall with the throw.
to see Chapman's latest lineup. Visit them on the web at Chapman.
It's going to ricochet through to Clint Irwin. Torres waiting for the support. Cerner has dropped. Alvarez at the back post takes that under control. Badji, Pitanari, and well timed with that challenge back there.
That's been part of the evolution of Teal Bunbury's game, playing with Kansas City. Typically played as a target striker in Kansas City's 4-3-3 with the Revs. That's where he started. It didn't quite fit in this system. Jay Heaps moved him out to the wing, plays what he calls a target winger position, and Teal Bunbury has added that element to his game, that he gets up and down that wing, and he's added quite a defensive element to his evolving game.
Ball over the top, offside. I think we do have Brian Crookham now where people can hear you. Brian?
It's probably better the other way. Yeah.
There we go. I think we had a bit of trouble with one of the microphones. Just, so give us a sense, if people couldn't pick you up on the microphones, is this a different 4-2-3-1 that the Rapids are playing with that rotation and the ability to rotate up top?
Definitely. It's a lot more fluid, especially in that front four. You'll see Sarvas and Pitanari and with Cronin as well sitting a little bit deeper in the game. And that front four will be a lot more fluid. They'll have the ability to get around. and interchange. And I think when you see somebody like Gabby maybe start a little bit deeper, but Baji comes off and Gabby then goes on behind, and just that interchange, the wide men will come in a little bit. So a lot more fluid, and the structure though is very good to defend from as well.
Irwin will clutch that one. We're going to have another substitution for the Rapids shortly. He'll be a trialist, but he's a man who is well known to Major League Soccer, James Riley, Colorado Springs boy, formerly with LA Galaxy, Seattle, Chivas, San Jose, DC United. And I suspect he'll be coming on for Marlon Hairston at right back, waiting just at the bottom of the screen. We're just out of shot now, going through his final stretches. Caldwell to Bunbury. Revolution piling some bodies forward now. Hall's got on the inside right channel. Bunbury doing well, trying to squeeze the ball through. Schoberg will clear downfield, only as far as Farrell. Riley waits to make his Colorado Rapids debut in this preseason game. 2015 Desert Diamond Cup in Tucson, Arizona. 1 goal apiece in this game. Gabriel Torres for the Rapids, Diego Fagundes for New England Revolution. 2 fine goals. Caldwell. Not quite for Fagundes. Agadello doing well, finding Caldwell. Squeezing now from the Rapids. They're sitting deep. They're trying to close down the space and just edge New England Revolution back. Alvarez. Sabas had to work there. Harrington looking for options. Pitanari drops short, makes himself available. Baji, Pitanari takes one late from Kellen Rowe. And the substitution can now take place. And we're going to have another substitution for the Revolution as well. It's going to be Sean Okoli, who's on for Kellen Rowe. And it will be Marlon Hairston walking towards the sideline here. And James Riley strides onto the field. 65 minutes for Marlon Hairston at right back. As we just watch Pitanari floating one towards the edge of the penalty area. Shuttleworth. Brian, Hairston at right back. That will have raised a few eyebrows from fans.
Well, if you look at the qualities of Hairston, his concentration's good. He has the ability to not only defend well, but he also gets forward well. He's got an engine that can get up and down the flank, and we just talked about maybe being a little bit narrow, a little more interchangeable out of the front four. Some of that width, and at times tonight we even struggle with it, some of that width is going to have to come from somewhere, and Hairston may be able to provide that. I think as we've seen little bits and pieces in preseason as he's been healthy, he's shown very well in that spot, and feel like he's got a future.
Yep, he anticipates well. As you say, he's got a good engine. Caldwell. As we say, thank you to Brian Crookham, Senior Director of Soccer Development, has joined us here in the booth. Jeff will resume duties. I'll take you through some of the fixtures coming up over the next few days for these two sides, and also the start of the regular season. 2 road games to start for the Revolution, away at Seattle and NYCFC as they're on the charge here. Hall having a blasted goal, wouldn't quite sit down. Decent left foot drive though from Jeremy Hall.
Hall, not a player who's not unfamiliar being around goal, spent quite a bit of his time in previous teams playing in midfield, but Jay Heaps does see him as a versatile option for the Revs, but has played him exclusively at right back throughout this preseason. That's a position that the Revs are looking for a bit of depth. They really like what they have seen so far out of Jeremy Hall. And another change for the Revs. Timmy Mulgrew, an undrafted college player, into the game for Teal Bunbury. And he will be a straight swap straight onto the right wing. There has been a little bit of a tactical adjustment just going back to that last Revolution substitution with Sean Okoli coming into the game for Kellen Rowe. Macaulay has taken up a spot on the left wing, and now we do see Diego Fagundes shift inside into that withdrawn position, playing in behind Juan Agudelo.
Well, Jeremy Hall has just been asked to step off the field to, I think, remove an earring. So for the moment, the Revolution down to 10 men. Can't see why he's not being allowed back on, to be fair.
Would have assumed that is something they would have figured out before they let him sub into the game in the first place.
He is back on the field of play now. You can see number 5. So the Revolution start with 2 games on the road, MLS regular season, Seattle NYCFC, then home March 21st against Montreal Impact. That is the first home game of the season for the Rapids, only their second game of the season, March 21st against NYCFC. Go to coloradorapids.com for tickets to that game. And revolutionsoccer.net for fans of the Revolution to tickets for that game against Montreal Impact, March 21st.
Interesting to note with that Mulgrew substitution, just 1 or 2 players still up for the Revs warming up, so we might actually see some of these players push towards 90 minutes, which would be a first for this preseason. Before tonight, nobody had really gone past the 60-minute mark.
Farrell is near side to Hall, minus the earring. Fagundes, the goal scorer. Cut out by Jared Watts. Now Badgie, who's got some speed, trying to get away from Farrell. And a check, Farrell doing his best. Just slowed down the play. Did well. Harrington. The Sjoberg. And Jared Watts from 44 to 33. Cerner. A little heavy on that. Agudelo. Caldwell. Fagundes. Mulgrew's outside him, and he's found. First touch for the substitute. Just a teasing ball in. And Jared Watts putting his laces through that, out of play on this near side. 17 minutes gone.
You see Diego Fagundes operating now in that withdrawn attacking position, and it's a position that's unfamiliar for Revolution fans to see him there, but he said it's not a position that's unfamiliar to him. It's actually the position that the Uruguay U20 side used him at while he was down there playing in the South American Youth Championships. He said that's the position he feels most comfortable in. So he's happy about the switch so far this preseason, and he'll be happy with the goal as well earlier tonight.
Don Badgie getting treatment there, and you may have just got a quick glimpse of the Rapids bench. There's some changes coming on shortly. Sam Cronin, Dylan Powers, Mark Birch, and Deshaun Brown, Bobby Burling. Rattling through those that I can see that have got their training tops off. And there's another change coming the way for the Revolution as well. Number 41 is coming on.
Michael Fenelus.
Picked up in the draft. Unsigned?
Unsigned at this point. Actually, the Revs' only draft pick in the 2015 Super Draft, a third-round pick out of Cal State Fullerton. He was an attack-minded player for the most part in college, played a bit of central midfield, but also spent quite a bit of time Cal State Fullerton playing forward, but the Reds have used him pretty much as a central midfielder in a deeper lying role throughout preseason.
Well, a load of changes just taken place. I will rattle through them. Starting at the back, Bobby Burling on for Jared Watts, Mark Birch on for Michael Harrington, Dylan Powers, as this ball comes in, on for Gabriel Torres, Nick LaBrocca on for Marcelo Sava, Sam Cronin on for Lucas Pitanari, and Deshaun Brown on for Don Badgie. So the only 2 players that started that are still out there, from my calculations, Axel Sjoberg and Clint Irwin. with the option of Grant van der Castile and John Burner, centre half and goalkeeper. Sean Brown, still work to do. Back to the Jamaican international. Low ball in. Schoberg guiding it onto this near side to Mark Birch. Offside against Dylan Powers. Fantasy Soccer Manager is here. Create your team and join leagues to show you the best fantasy manager in the league. We're offering $10,000 in prizes. Visit MLSsoccer.com for more details.
Revolution substitution. We'll see Andrew Farrell coming out of the game. London Woodbury, trialist in camp. MLS fans will know is a former FC Dallas homegrown player. So a 73-minute performance from Andrew Farrell, by far his longest of preseason, as he continues to get that chemistry with his center back partner Jose Gonçalves, who remains in the game.
Mulgrew, Fagundes, Powers, LaBrocca, a little lively in there. Ball's not coming down. Powers, Alvarez, LaBrocca, Mark Birch spreading the play to Riley. Cerner. No handball according to the referee. Birch goes down under that challenge. A free kick to the Rapids. LaBrocca trying to take it quickly, but a little further ahead than the referee would like. Looking to see if there's any more activity on the respective benches, as Alvarez collects on the left-hand side to Birch. Revolution sitting deep, trying to find Powers. Good defending. Agudalo's taken a little knock on the back of the heel by the looks of it. Free kick to the Revolution. Trying to see if there's more changes coming.
So still a couple up warming up for the Revolution.
Tyler Rudy is, or did have his training top off. And Jay Heaps warming up as well on this near side. He's a competitor. He's Jay Heaps. Not happy with that decision going against his team. Cerner. Back to Cronin, who's now got the captain's armband for the Rapids. Riley to LaBrocca. Not quite on the same wavelength there, Sam Cronin and Nick LaBrocca. 15 minutes remaining, a little under. MLSsoccer.com, RevolutionSoccer.net and ColoradoRapids.com with this game. The fourth game of the 2015 Desert Diamond Cup in Tucson, Arizona. Another game currently being played. That is Real Salt Lake against FC Tucson on the field behind this Keno North Stadium. And the game to follow this on this arena, inside this arena, Seattle Sounders against Sporting Kansas City. Riley to Cronin, under pressure from Caldwell. Bit of space here for Fagundes. Struggling through to Mulgrew, checks. That's comfortable for Cerner, only as far as Caldwell though. Through the middle, and that's just skipped and bumped all the way through to Clint Irwin. I think Tyler Rudy is going to be coming on shortly. He's waiting by the sideline.
That's the second time we've seen Timmy Mulgrew get a little bit of space down that right side, and then check inside onto his left foot. He is a heavily left-footed player, and whenever he has the chance, he is going to try to get that ball onto his left foot. So playing in a bit of an inverted winger role right now, playing out on the right side.
Waiting to see what the decision. I think it is a throw, but they're waiting for the substitution to be made here.
Desert Diamond Casinos and Entertainment is proud to sponsor the 2015 FC
So Caldwell makes way
Diamond Cup. Just 15 minutes
after
away.
77 minutes for Tyler Rudy, another trialist with the Revolution.
Hotel accommodations. Join the Diamonds Reward
3 players from Georgetown currently in camp at the Revolution. Of course, Steve Newman, a rookie last year, and trialist goalkeeper Tomas Gomez.
Remember today, Desert Diamond Casinos.
Burling looking for Alvarez. That's going to have a little bit too much on it, but he does well to keep it in. Mulgrew shadowing him. Birch checks back, finds LaBrocca. Sjoberg decides to go all the way back to his keeper, Clint Irwin. Burling looking for Powers, who's offside. Hall. A wild swing from Sam Cronin there. Little nudge in the back of Bobby Burling. It was offside anyway. 6'7" and 6'5" for the Rapids central defenders. Not too many that would tower above Bobby Burling, but Axel Sjoberg is a couple of inches taller.
It's not often you see Juan Agudelo in between a center back pairing. Juan Agudelo standing at 6'1", taller than you think he is, but doesn't look it right now.
Another substitution then for New England Revolution. Number 45 coming on.
Academy player Zach Herivo replacing Jose Gonçalves. So nobody going quite the 90 minutes for New England tonight, but Jose Gonçalves going just about 80. So he gets very, very near to full fitness. And it looks like Zach Herivo will slot in central defense. He is typically a central midfield player, but the Revolution 2014 United Healthcare Youth Player of the Year, so certainly a player, if you're a Revolution fan, to keep your eye on. He'll be beginning his freshman season at Providence College in the fall.
I think it's a night for bling, isn't it, tonight? Mark Birch is now coming over to the sideline. He's taken a ring off. We've had an earring and now a ring. That one's drilled in and out of play. And Birch is back on. These two sides play again on Wednesday, not against each other. Rapids against FC Tucson on this field, 5:30 p.m. local time. It'll be on MLSsoccer.com and ColoradoRapids.com. And it's the opposing field for the Revolution against Seattle Sounders. And that's a 6 p.m., so 8 p.m. Eastern time. And that'll be on RevolutionSoccer.net and MLSsoccer.com.
It'll be an interesting matchup for the Revs, playing the Sounders in preseason just about 10 days before they'll open the season against them in Seattle. But based on the way that these games have played out, with the Revs using kind of a full-strength lineup for extended minutes tonight, as we mentioned earlier, expecting some of those players to not get quite as many minutes on Wednesday.
Sean Brown somehow comes away with the ball, still has it. Riley back to Burling, and he's going to go all the way back to Clint Irwin. 82 minutes gone. Alvarez leaping with Hall. Alvarez offside. Download the MLS app from the App Store or Google Play for free. Look for our regular season edition update to the app just before the start of the season. Then check out the latest pre-season news and videos. Check scores once the season gets underway. Download for free now at the App Store or Google Play. This is a race for the ball here. Cut back nicely. Agudelo couldn't find his man. And Cerna brings the ball away. Powers quickly on to Alvarez. Plenty of blue jerseys back. Not too many burgundy jerseys piling forward just yet. Cronin to Riley. Fagundes giving chase. Deshaun Brown playing a wide right role at the moment. Dylan Powers is central. Cerna looking for Powers to get the return. Alvarez just took his eye off the ball a little there. And Hall was quickest to react. Birch and Hall battling for the ball there. Fagundes sneaks in and brings the ball away. And that was a little cynical from Nick LaBrocca. We'll go into the referee's book.
We have seen Diego Fagundes get on the ball in those types of scenarios quite a bit here tonight. Getting the ball in transition, running at defenders. It's what he likes to do. Gives him options, and he's had quite a bit of those opportunities playing in this withdrawn role.
RNA specializes in tax, accounting, and insurance services to support individuals.
Onside. Bobby Burling with his arm up, but no flag. For Rapids fans, single game tickets are available for the 2015 season, starting at just $29. Go to coloradorapids.com for details. And a reminder, the opening games for the two sides, March 21st, opening home games. My apologies, opening home games for the two sides. Colorado Rapids against NYCFC, the Revolution against Montreal Impact. Both games March 21st. Go to coloradorapids.com and revolutionsoccer.net for ticket details. The season just approaching, just 2 weeks away now. Carlos Alvarez offside. Approaching the last 5 minutes. Imagine a 1-1 tie doesn't favour any of these two sides. A loss for the Revolution in the first game, a tie for the Rapids in the first game.
Yeah, as far as the results go here in the tournament, I think Jay Heaps will be pretty happy about what he's seen from this group in the second half. Obviously, you see all the changes, and the chemistry can falter a little bit when you're having all of the new players come in, but I think he's got to love what he's seen out of Diego Fagundes. There has been a little bit more of that incisiveness in the final third, and to get a goal on the board for the first time in the past 3 preseason games, that will certainly make the head coach happy.
Lacking the crispness, I think, from a Rapid standpoint in this second half. The ball just not coming down. It's wandering behind a player. It's just half a yard shy and forcing players to check themselves. Deshaun Brown firing over the top of the bar. He was well picked out by Dylan Powers. Chose his spot, a slam of the grass. Deshaun Brown knows he should have done better there. A wonderful chance for the Jamaican.
Soccer fans, I'd like to remind you that MLS
Bobby Shuttleworth
continues this Wednesday.
racing to narrow down the angle, but certainly had wonderful power from Deshaun Brown, just lacked the direction.
On your way out this evening at the box office,
Hopeful ball downfield from Nick LaBrocca finds Dylan Cerna. Back to Riley. Revolution defending well, getting numbers back. Cronin to Sjoberg. Looks like he's going to go the full 90. It's going to be a late substitution for New England Revolution, the last 5 minutes. Sjoberg. Sorry, Birch back to Sjoberg.
For the Revolution, it'll be one to watch for the future. Academy player Justin Renix is going to make his preseason debut. The U16 player actually made his U16 U.S. national team debut in late January. Scored his first goal on his debut in a 2-0 win over Romania. He replaced Sean Okoli. Fantastic for Justin Renix to get a run out here, albeit brief, at the Desert Diamond Cup. Justin Renix, a player, Richard, who was born in 1999.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. I told someone the other day that's 1999 is not a year people were born in. It's a Prince song.
It's just a song that Prince sings about, yes. I think that was about 1984 that he recorded that. And the young lad has got his dad in the crowd as well. A very proud moment, seeing his young son playing the last few moments of this pre-season game. And MLS is in a very good place right now. You talk about the Chipotle homegrown game later in the year. That'll precede the All-Star game at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Opponent yet to be announced. But that is a concept. Started last year in Portland. And it goes to show the depth now within the talent, and the talent coming through via the academies. And the young lads coming on for the Revolution. It's just a reminder of that. Dylan Powers, back header, goal kick given. 16, he's 16?
15.
15.
Turned 16 in another month.
Goodness me.
He's actually said he was asked who he's looked up to in camp, and he's rooming with fellow academy player Zach Harivo, who's 19. So Zach Harivo, who was actually with the Reds in the Desert Diamond Cup last year at 19 years old, a mentor to his 15-year-old academy teammate.
Wow. A little sloppy from Deshaun Brown there. Time to tee it up for Dylan Powers. In the last 2 minutes of this game, 1 goal apiece. Gabriel Torres on 48 minutes and Fagundes on 54.
Fagundes at 20 years old now, the old vet in camp.
Hall. Space over on that far side. James Riley racing across to try and close down the space. Late charge here for the Revolution. A late chance. Wouldn't quite come down for Newman. Deshaun Brown helping the ball on. Fagundes trying to find Agudelo. Powers, Alvarez, first time to Deshaun Brown. Touch a little heavy, just skipping and bouncing. Comes away with it. Cronin's going to have to hurry up. Alvarez going to have to get his skates on. And it goes out of play. The last 30 seconds plus stoppage time. And we did see a little bit of that in the first half. So a reminder, the next game for these two sides on Wednesday. That's February 25th. The Rapids against FC Tucson. 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time kickoff. And then the Revolution take on Seattle Sounders. And that is an 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's on the Keno North Grandstand. That's on the field behind, which FC Tucson and Real Salt Lake currently playing in that game. We're into time added on. Daniel Radford has indicated to his assistant on this near side. He's aware that we are over the 90. How many more seconds are we going to play? Seattle Sounders and Sporting Kansas City to follow on MLSsoccer.com. Sporting Kansas City opening with a 2-2 tie against the Rapids on Wednesday. Seattle with a thumping 6-0 win against FC Tucson. Play continues into the 91st minute. Rapids throw. I think another good exercise for both sides.
Jay Heaps, I think, accomplishing what he wanted to accomplish tonight as far as getting a lot of those starting group players, upwards of 65, and even a player like Jose Gonçalves, 80 minutes tonight. I think that was primarily the goal. Here in the second half, I think Jay Heaps will be a bit more happy with some of the incisiveness he was able to get, particularly from a player like Diego Fagundes, who we've seen drop deep into midfield quite a few times, looking for any way to get on the ball, get a bit of space, and run at defenders.
Play continues here at the Keno North Stadium. Whistle is in the referee's mouth, but I think just to indicate, or give himself some space with his arm to point in the right direction without whistle in hand. That's glistening in his left hand at the moment. The assistant checks his watch as well. We're into the 93rd minute here, still 1 goal apiece. Been a more scrappy affair, I think, from a Rapid standpoint than we saw on Wednesday night. Burling giving chase against Agudelo, shoulder to shoulder, and it's a Revolution throw taken quickly. Powers intercepted by Fagundes, trying to sneak the ball through. He's staying onside according to the assistant, and Clint Irwin clutches at that one at the second time of asking, and they're looking across and asking questions. And I think we're going to have the final whistle. There it goes. Final score at Keno North Stadium, 1 goal apiece. Gabriel Torres after 48 minutes, Diego Fagundes after 54. A tie for the Rapids to go with that 2-2 tie on Wednesday, and a point for New England Revolution following their defeat against Real Salt Lake midweek. Don't go too far on MLSsoccer.com to follow at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. It is Seattle Sounders against Sporting Kansas City. From myself, Richard Fleming, and Jeff Lemieux, it's finished here. Colorado Rapids 1, New England Revolution 1.